Hello students, how are you? So in last class we were studying about the units of measurement. Today we can study the correct measurement of length. So we can learn how we can take the measurement correctly. Okay. So in our daily life we use various types of measuring devices. We can use a meter scale or for measuring the length, or we can see a tailor uses a tape for measuring the cloth and all, or a cloth merchant uses a meter rod and all. So for measuring the length of an object, we choose a suitable device. Based on the object, we will select what scale or measuring tape and all. For example, if you want to measure the size of our chest, we can't use a meter scale. For that, we need a tape like this. So measuring tape is suitable for this. For small measurements, what we do, if we want to measure the length of an eraser, we can use a scale, 15 meter scale, that is in your geometry box and all. So in taking measurement of length, we need to take care of the following. So many steps are there. We should take care of that steps while taking the measurement. So first step is that. So first step for measuring the length of an object is you should place the scale in contact with the object along its length. So if you want to measure the length of this, you should not keep the scale like this and take the measurement. Or you should not keep it like this or like this and all. You should keep it in contact with the object, close contact with the object, and keep it straight. Then find out what is the reading here, and that is the length of this. Okay, so first point is that place the scale in contact with the object along its length. Then second point is that in some scales this ends here, you can see beginning here, this is the end. From here onwards reading starts. So first reading, first is what? So you can see here first is 0, then you can see 1, 2, here it is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, like that you can see the reading. Okay, so here in some scales the ends may be broken. So here first points and all will be broken. So you may not be able to see the 0 mark clearly. In such cases, you should avoid taking measurements from the 0 mark of the scale. So this point may not be clear or broken. So you begin to take the reading from first point, 1 or 2 or 3, which is clear. From that onwards you take the reading. Then how you will get the result? For example, if you want to take the length of this line. So here 0 mark and all is wrong. So not clear. So I am going to take from 1 point. Here onwards I am going to take the length of this line. So when I take here from 1 onwards, I get here the reading is 9. Okay. So now what is the length? Length is not 9 because we didn't begin it from 0. So how you get the result? Then you must subtract the reading of this mark from the reading at the other end. So here reading in this end was 1. At the other end it was 9. So what is the correct length? 9 minus 1, that is equal to 8. And if you begin the reading, if one mark is also not clear, it is also broken. And if you begin it from 3, you begin it from 3. So you get the final reading is what it is? 11. Final reading is 11. So you begin from 3 also. So what is the actual length? 11 minus 3. So what is it? It is 8. So reading is same, length is same. So you should take the final reading, then subtract it from where it will begin. Okay, so you must subtract the reading of this mark from the reading at the other end. Is it clear? So if it is broken or not clear, you begin it from any other point. Then take the final reading. Then subtract the first reading from the final reading. Then you will get the length of the object. Okay. So first point, you should keep it in contact. Second one, if first 0 mark is not clear, begin it from other point which is clear for you. Then the third point is correct position of the eye is also important for taking measurement. So your eye must be exactly in front of the point where the measurement is to be taken. For example, if you want to take the measurement of this point 7. So one child is here, other one is here, other one is here. A, B, C. Okay, so this boy is looking straight from here. He is looking from here and this boy is looking from here. So what about the view? Who is getting the correct measurement? B is getting the correct measurement. So when you are measuring, correct position of the eye is also important for making the measurement correctly. Okay, so 3 points how for taking the measurement correctly. First one is the scale should be in close contact with the object and you should keep it straight also. Second point is if the 0 mark is not clear or broken, you can take the measurement from another point. But final point, what is the final reading? From that you should subtract this point and you should get take the correct length. And third point is correct position of the eye is also important for taking measurement. So your eyes must be in exactly in front of the point where the measurement is to be taken. Okay, so here B is in the correct position. Clear? Then there is an activity 3 in your textbook. So in that activity you can see one table is given. Here who measured the height. Next you can see height in handspan, height in centimeter. So first here you should measure the height of the students with the handspan. Here you can use a measuring tape and write the measurements. So what about the measurements in handspan? You can see there will be so many differences in the number of handspan. What about second? It should be correct because we are using a measuring tape. Then also sometimes we may find small differences. Why there are some small differences? It may be due to small errors in taking the measurements. So when you are taking measurement, you should take it correctly also. Okay. The next topic is measuring the length of a curved line. So if we have a curved line, how we can take the measurement? So if there is a curved line, we can look how we can take the measurement. So now there is a curved line like this and we want to take the measurement of this curved line. So this is a curved line. Now we can look how we can measure the length of this curved line. Can we take the measurement of this or length of this curved line by a scale? No, it is not possible. Can we use a measuring tape? That's also difficult. So what we can do? We can use a thread for measuring the length of a curved line. So take a thread, then keep it here on this curved line. Then move the thread along the curved line. Okay, so you move it along this curved line. Then here this is the final point. So put a mark here on this final point. Then take the thread. So here mark is it is marked here. So this is the length of that curved line. So we can take a scale, then keep the thread along this from this point to the end and find the length of that curved line. So here the length of that curved line is 15 centimeter. See exactly 15 centimeter. So like this we can measure the length of a curved line. Then next topic in your textbook is moving things around us. So a list of so many things are given in your textbook. There is a butterfly, dog, cow, your hand, a small baby, a fish in water, a house, a factory, a piece of stone, all this. From this you want to select which are the moving things and which are not moving. So one table is also given here. You can fill the table also. So how you know which is moving and which is not moving, or how do you decide whether an object is in motion or at rest? You might have noticed that bird is not at the same place after some time, while the table is at the same place. You say that table is not moving but bird is moving. How you say? We know after a few minutes bird will be in some other place, but table will be in the same place even after so many years. So you can say bird is in motion, table is not in motion. So by looking at them, if they are changing place, we can say they are moving. If they are not changing place, we can say they are not in motion. So if an object is in motion, means that object will change its position after some time. So on this basis, you can decide whether an object is at rest or in motion. So motion seems to be some kind of a change in the position of an object with time. Now we can look at some types of motion. So next topic is types of motion. So we can see various types of motion. For example, a car moving on a straight road, or soldiers moving in a march past, or sprinters in a 100-meter race. What kind of motion you can see in all these examples? In all these examples, we see that the objects move along a straight line. So car is moving in a straight line. Soldiers are moving on a march past is on a straight line. Or the sprinters in a 100-meter race, they are running in a straight line. So the objects, if they are moving in a straight line, or the motion is in a straight line, that type of motion is called rectilinear motion. Rectilinear motion. So rectilinear motion means if the motion is in a straight line, we can call it as rectilinear motion. Example, a car moving on a straight road, or sprinters in a 100-meter race. Now we can tie a stone at the end of a thread. Okay, and I am going to whirl this thread. So I am rotating this. So observe the motion of the stone. We saw that the stone moves along a circular path. Stone is moving along a circular path. And what about the distance of the stone from my hand? If it is here also, the length is this much. If it is rotating and reaching this side also, length is same. If it is here also, the length is same. If it is here also, the length is same. So in this motion, the distance of the stone from my hand remains the same. Okay, so I am rotating it, but always the distance of the stone from my hand is same. And this type of motion is called circular motion. So first type was rectilinear motion. Now if it is moving in a circle, we call that motion circular motion. Okay, so it is moving in a circle. So it is called a circular motion. So the distance from the center will be always same in a circular motion. So now can you give some other examples? A wheel is an example. Wheels of vehicles are having a circular motion. Or you know, the hands of this watch is having a circular motion. So the distance from the center will be always same even if the hand is rotating in different directions. Okay. Or the blades of a fan also shows a circular motion. So the motion of the blades of an electric fan or the hands of a clock are examples of circular motion. So if we mark a point anywhere on the blades of a fan or on the hands of a clock, the distance of the point from the center of the fan or the clock will remain the same as they rotate. So in a circular motion, an object moves such that its distance from a fixed point remains the same. Okay, so circular motion means if the motion is in a circle and the distance from the center will remain the same. That type of motion is called circular motion. Example, blades of a fan, hands of a clock or a watch, etc. Okay. Now I am going to move this stone like this. So you look at the movement of the stone. It is moving to front and back at the same interval of time. So this is moving like a pendulum. So here the stone is repeating its motion at the same interval of time. And this type of motion is called periodic motion. So if the object is moving or repeating its motion at the same interval of time, that type of motion is called periodic motion. Or the motion of a child on a swing. What is that movement? Child will move to that side, then this way. Again move to that side, then this way. So it is moving at the same interval of time. It won't go to that side, take so much time, and it won't take less time to move this side. It is moving at the same interval of time to that side and back, again going that side, coming back. So motion of a child on a swing, it is an example of periodic motion. Or the strings of a guitar, how it is moving like this, that is also an example of a periodic motion. So if an object repeats its motion after a fixed interval of time, that type of motion is called periodic motion. Example, motion of a child on a swing is an example for periodic motion. Then have you seen a sieving machine? What about its wheel? Its wheel is showing circular motion. What about its needle? You can see needle going down, coming up, tuck, 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 tuck. It is moving like this. What is that movement? That is periodic motion. So a sieving machine shows two types of motion. Wheel is showing circular motion, but its needle is showing periodic motion. Or what about the motion of a ball along a ground? When the ball is rolling on the ground, it is rotating. So it is showing circular motion. And at the same time, it is moving in a straight line. So it is also showing rectilinear motion. Two types of motion, circular motion and rectilinear motion. Or a vehicle, wheel on a bus. When the bus is moving on a straight road, wheel will rotate and it shows circular motion. And at the same time, it is moving on a straight line also. So it is showing rectilinear motion also. So some objects shows more than one kind of motion. So we were discussing about the different types of motion. If an object is moving in a straight line, like march past of soldiers, that motion is called rectilinear motion. If an object is moving in a circle and the distance from the center remains same, then that type of motion is called circular motion. Example, the blades of a fan. Then if an object is moving, repeating its movement at the same interval of time, that kind of movement is called periodic motion. Example, a needle of a sieving machine. Okay. So we did many measurement activities and discussed some kinds of motion also. So measurement, we saw the units of measurement and what all things we should take care while taking measurements. We should keep it in contact and keep it straight. Then if it is broken, we should begin it from the next point, and our eyes should be straight and all we study. Then we study how we can take the length of a curved line and all. Then if an object changes its place, we say that object is in motion, and we saw the different types of motions also. And we saw that motion is a change in the position of an object with time. So what is motion? Motion is the change in the position of an object with time. The change in this position can be determined through measurement of distances. This allows us to know how fast or slow a motion is. And the movement of a snail on the ground, or a river of flowing, aeroplane flying, blood flowing in our body, all these show some kind of motion. So everywhere around the world we can see motion. Okay. So my dear students, our 10th lesson is over. Clear now? Okay. Bye.